Good evening. The May 14th, 2019 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the evening, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Ken McAteer, Director of Secondary Education, please introduce the individuals who will be providing the inspiration and leading us in the pledge this evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair King, Vice Chair Reverend Cummings, members of the board, Dr. Mayer, Mr. Gibbs, and Ms. Martinez-Lopez. I am proud to introduce the Marion County Commissioners Academic Challenge Team this evening, two of whom will give the inspiration and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to introduce them and ask that they come forward as I call their name. First, we have Dr. Gregory Cruz, a National Board Certified teacher in the Science Department chair at Vanguard High School, who has coached the team for the past 12 years, and his wife, Linda, a retired MCPS teacher and co-coach. Next, the students from Vanguard High School, Junior Joshua Noah Kobe, Junior Jordan Davidsen, who will be providing the inspiration, Junior Graham Cope, who will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance, Sophomore Tarun Koti, and Sophomore Andy Shar, who is currently representing the Marion County Public Schools at the International Science and Engineering Fair in Phoenix, Arizona. And also from Westport High School, Junior Gabriel Gonzalez. Before we move to the inspiration and pledge, I know that Dr. Mayer attended this event. Would you like to share a few words about the team?
Just briefly, yes, but I could go on and on about these young men. I was so impressed with you. Before I share the actual event that I attended, I wanted to let everybody know that not only did they come in second for the state in this competition that they're here for tonight, but earlier they won the National Academic Quiz Tournament earlier in the year, and they finished first in the state and ninth in the nation out of 120 teams competing in the Questions Unlimited 3-2-1 competition. And when I did my research on that, Mr. McAteer confirmed that that is a very difficult competition to win. So we've got a great group of young people here, and I think a lot of that, well, all of it, would go to their parents and to Dr. Cruz, who has been such a fabulous mentor to these young men this year. When I went down to attend the competition, Dr. Cruz was so gracious with directions and meeting me at the door and all, because it's a very top secret thing. Like once they start, you can't enter the room. It's very, on task. And so I'm just watching from the back, and I was so impressed with their confidence, with their professionalism. Even when they would challenge a question, they were far and above they were so kind with how they did it. And there were some teams there that were not too nice to those judges, but these young men maintained their grace and professionalism, and it just made me proud, and you represented us so well. When they made it to the finals, Chancellor of Education Oliva was there, and he was at the far end of the room and walked over to me to say how impressed he was with them, how in their performance, and just how you conducted yourself, even if you would not have won, got to the level that you were, you did us so proud. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Cruz and Mrs. Cruz, for everything you do for these young people. 12 years. I know that's a yes. And you were so proud of these young people. None of them are seniors. So just think about next year when y'all come back. So thank you.
Thank you. Jordan.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Davidsen, a junior at Vanguard High School and a second-year member of the Commissioner's Academic Challenge Team representing Marion County. I would like to share some inspiration with you guys, starting with a quote by a romantic author named Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. The quote reads, "In the realm of ideas, everything depends on enthusiasm, and in the real world, all rests on perseverance." These words speak volume to our team and what we experience in our everyday life. The realm of ideas is incredibly powerful, and our team works hard to appreciate the works of those who have had enough enthusiasm to contribute to the realm of ideas and general education. Our team has also been challenged with perseverance, especially on the morning of our final competition, where 2 of our players were sick and it looked like defeat was inevitable. I'm very proud of the way our team pushed through all the way to the final match and was able to recover. So as our team has formed, grown, and disbanded over the past few months, I hope everybody can take away some of the lessons that we have learned. Do all things with enthusiasm, and perseverance will get you through all things. Thank you.
Please join me in standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With the exception, with the exception of item C8.1, which has been withdrawn completely, and item C13.2, which has been moved to discussion from the May 14th, 2019 board agenda packet. I recommend approval of the agenda for the May 14th, 2019 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Thank you. May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So move.
Second. Moved by Mr. Cummings, second by Ms. Thrower. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those that oppose, like sign. Seeing none. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 28th, 2019 special administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
second by Mr. Cummings. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. The motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 7th, 2019 administrative briefing and work session?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Thrower,
Second.
second by Ms. McCall. Are there any additions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those that oppose, like sign. The motion passed 5-0. Ms. Judy Zanetti, Public Education Foundation Officer, would like to recognize Mr. Phil Rosenberg and Ms. Charlotte Rosenberg, who began the 100 Telescope Project.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, school board members and superintendent, for allowing me to be here tonight. You know that each time I come and speak to you at a school board meeting, I tell you that I'm bringing you good news, and I'm sharing something with you that, as Dr. Mayer would say, is a happy. But I want you to know that underlying everything we do at the Public Education Foundation is our goal to enhance student performance. And with this 100 Telescope project, I think that we are doing great things in our middle and elementary schools, aligning with Florida standards and allowing our students to experience something that they otherwise would not have the opportunity to do. So in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Phil Rosenberg. I'd also like to call up from Stanton-Wearsdale, Kathy Andriola, and from Lake Weir Middle School, Helen Hamill. And they'll be here in case you have any questions about how the telescopes are being used in their schools. Mr. Rosenberg, who is behind me in the orange shirt, I'm sure you can see him, has a vast background and lots of experience, including experience in public administration, and he is a great proponent of public education. He sits on the board of directors for the foundation at the College of Central Florida and Pace Center for Girls. I was introduced to Mr. Rosenberg by Christopher Knife, the director of the CF Foundation. And he came to me with the idea of his 100 Telescope project, which he'll explain to you. But before he does this, I'm going to answer some questions that you might have that I had and that everyone has right off the bat. Can you use these telescopes during the day when students are at school? Yes, you can, because Mr. Rosenberg makes sure that they have a solar filter in place. Can they be used in the evening at school? Of course they can, and he or his fellow astronomers would be happy to come out to science evenings at school and to STEM activities, and they have done so. So far, telescopes have been placed at Stanton-Wearsdale Elementary. One will soon be at Harborview Elementary, and then their feeder school, Lake Weir Middle School, has a telescope. College Park Elementary has a telescope, and pretty soon their feeder school, Liberty Middle, will have a telescope. And we have scopes right now at Dr. N.H. Jones and Spar Elementaries. And we've got a few more ready to go and be in place for the beginning of the next school year. But to explain this project, I would like my friend Phil, who I call Phil the Telescope Guy, to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you. It's a great honor, and it's great fun to be with a board. I'm a 40-year, retired now, County Chief Administrative Officer, HR Director for Cities and Counties, and a whole bunch of seminar presentations. But I'm a daddy, and a grandpa, and a hubby. And my major seminar that I do around the world is outlined in the very last part of the book called Evie the Star Princess. Each of you has received a copy of 2 of my books. A Guaranteed Cure for Insomnia. You are now one of the people in the United States who's going to read the book, I hope. And I also shared with you a bunch of photos, astro photos, every one of them taken in Marion County, everyone taken from my observatory, to which any of you, and way more important than you, though I love and respect you, kids going to school in this system, just figure out how to contact me. Come visit the observatory and see what it's like to be a hunter and an explorer, to be in awe of the universe, to be humble in the face of everything that's there, and to just have fun. We include chocolate in visits to observatories. It's kind of a rule. So the bottom line is, one of the chapters in the Evie the Star Princess book about a little girl and what telescopes do to help her become a confident superhuman is called the 10,000 Telescope Project, and it becomes the goal of her doctoral dissertation. But the character would not leave my brain. It was a medical emergency until I promised the character that Charlotte, my beautiful wife, and I would start a nano version of the 100 Telescope Project, of the 10,000 Telescope Project, which we're doing. Every school that gets a telescope has to promise me 2 things only. 1, they will use it and help children become confident explorers. And number 2 is that I get visitation rights to go visit each telescope. Each telescope is named. We will soon give away the Canine Goldie telescope, the first scope named after a dog. And that's because an incredible friend of mine handed me a check for the endowment of a telescope and said, it's got to be anonymous. It's not, no one's to know it's from me. You name it, not me. So I named it after his recently deceased golden retriever, his very good friend. When you look through a telescope as an adult, you turn into a 10-year-old. I am a 10-year-old every time I go into my observatory. And when you start looking through something like your first look through a telescope, as a 10-year-old, you become the seed bearer, the Johnny Appleseed of adult behavior with honor and adult behavior with generosity and humility. 2 minutes and 30 seconds is what I promised Judy. I'm probably over that. But if the whole world history of the Earth was a 24-hour clock, humans would have existed on the planet for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So lest we get pumped up because we're rich or we're healthy or we're Americans or we're much better than those annoying neighbors over there, the reality is there is no better tool than a telescope, not for pride, not for a picture of the pinwheel galaxy in there somewhere. It is the instrument to make you a humble and therefore a much better person. So each telescope is computerized and robotic. It is artificially intelligent. It takes 10 minutes to set it up, says the manufacturer, which means for me it's like half an hour. But once you set it up, you can tell it to take you to any of 40,000 objects that are those that are up at that time, and it will take you there and stop and let you be in awe, and then it will wait for you to say something else. So if I were still a CAO, I'd say to the police officers, bring the kids to the house and we'll figure out something neat for the kids of the men and women in blue. I thank you for being here. I'm done except for your questions.
Yes, we do the observatory, and Helen said her father has been, so do you want to come up and just talk a little bit about that, or how you're using the scopes at your schools?
Well, we had the privilege of going there in January, I believe it was, and yes, we had chocolate too. But I had never been in a place like this before, so it was pretty awesome. And Mr. Phil actually let us even take pictures with his computerized technology stuff and sent the pictures to us, and the kids were just awed by that. In addition, these books that you have a copy of have opened up a new world for so many kids. I have one girl in my class who just devoured both of them, and it sparked such an interest in all our children. And to know that we have a telescope right there that they can take advantage of. And Mr. Phil was gracious enough to come out for our science night as well, and the kids are just on fire. They with their testing especially, the most exciting part for them was Earth and space, Earth and space.
All right, I'm from Lakeford Middle School. We deal with our middle schoolers who are the most interesting creature on Earth.
Maybe in the galaxy.
They are. They really are. But it's our sixth graders. Our sixth graders looking into Earth space and just trying to grasp and little minds just how big the universe is and how big things are out there. They've been really impressed with some of the pictures that Phil has sent us. I know when my dad went out there, they took more pictures, and I, of course, gave them to my sixth grade teachers, and they're going, this is better than the textbook. And I said, and even better, you know where it came from, and you can tell your students that it literally was taken right down the road, because we're lucky to have Phil right down around the corner in Wearsdale from us, so he's our happy neighbor. But it really has been impressive. We're working hard to get a astronomy night going, if we can only get the weather to cooperate. Those darn clouds just keep getting in the way. But we're hoping as weather patterns have shifted, we may be able to get it going for start of next year, where we can get a little bit better than a 30% visibility night. That would be fantastic. But we were so thrilled to have Phil come out and show my science department and show my fellow teachers how to use this telescope. It really is user-friendly. I was amazed. You use the little remote and it goes. And that in itself was a nice lesson for our students on evolving technologies, because we had an old telescope and this is much better. And we're talking 20-year difference in technology. So it's been a pleasure.
And I'll just also report to you that when I heard back from the teacher at NH Jones that was first using the scope, their first lesson was reading text and reading nonfiction technical work. And so all of her students read the manual that came with the telescope before they were allowed to use it. Mm-hmm. And then they trained younger students how to use the telescope as well. So any questions?
Just a quick comment. I just wanted to say thank you so much for bringing your knowledge and your passion to our schools and sharing it. I don't know if we're all universally overwhelmed, but I feel universally overwhelmed. And it's a great reminder to take our 2 minutes and 30 seconds and do wonderful things. So thank you.
You're welcome. There is a teacher at the heart of everyone's passion for how they choose to live their lives.
Absolutely. I grew up, spent about half of my elementary years in the town of Alamogordo, New Mexico. And on my elementary playground was an observatory. And we got to visit that observatory once a week. And we all walked to school then. So once a month, they opened it up to families. And I still remember those were my favorite times, was being in those observatories. So thank you for what you're doing for our kids.
My honor. I have the only observatory. I am so incredibly lucky in Marion County, except the building department kept wanting to call it the conservatory. And I kept saying, like no piano in there.
Stars, music?
We worked that out.
Thank you so much.
Judy Zanetti is a treasure. Congratulations on nurturing her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg.
Miss Joanne Crowder, Fine Arts Program Specialist, would like to recognize the following Arts for All Florida student winner.
Good evening, Board Chair Mrs. King, Vice Chair Pastor Cummings, Board members Mrs. McCall, Mrs. Stacy, and Mrs. Thrower, Superintendent Dr. Mayer, Mr. Gibbs, and Mrs. Martinez Lopez, and all of our guests. I have some fabulous people to introduce you to. I have the pleasure of recognizing Mr. Fernando Pinheiro and family of Hillcrest School. He is the Arts for All Florida April Student of the Month. His nominating teacher, Ms. Anita Hendry, art teacher at Hillcrest, and music teacher, Diego Fuentes of Hillcrest, principal, Mrs. Manresa, and another art teacher who comes in and works with our students with Arts for All, Miss Marlene Jacobowitz. And I'd like to reintroduce you to Mrs. Pat York. She's the Regional Director of Arts for All Florida. She's going to tell you more about the special award and what an honor it is to have two Marion County students recognized in the same school year.
Thank you for that very nice introduction. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Mayer, and board members. I hope you're not tired of seeing me back here again this month, but it's with great pleasure that I'm back recognizing another Marion County student. I've been doing this job for about 10 years, and I have never had two students from Marion County Public Schools recognized in 1 year, let alone two students back-to-back, month-to-month. This is unprecedented. What this tells me is the teachers in our county go above and beyond for their kids. Teachers' plates are already full, and we are asking them to do one more thing. When you nominate a student for Student of the Month, you must fill out an application, write a narrative, upload art, upload pictures. It requires time. And the teachers are willing to do this for their students. The student Arts for All Florida is recognizing this month is 21-year-old Fernando Pinheiro as one of their April Students of the Month. Fernando was enthusiastically nominated by Zanita Hendry, his art teacher at Hillcrest School, with additional high accolades written by several other teachers that have worked with Fernando during his transitional years. Fernando is an outstanding example of how a village of academic professionals can support a student's passion within an environment designed for success, both socially and creatively. Ms. Henry writes, Fernando is one of those students you never forget. His amazing smile, kind disposition, and love of art are simply infectious. With many art exhibitions resulting with ribbons in his possessions, it's obvious Fernando's art speaks for itself. Music teacher Diego Fuentes weighed in by sharing his experiences with Fernando throughout the 3 years the school's music program has been in place. As an exemplary student, Fernando is the first student to perform a solo at the Hillcrest Awards ceremony for students and parents. Because of Fernando's passion for Disney's The Lion King, he sang Elton John's Circle of Life. Bonus tributes came from Tracy Bravo, Fernando's work-study teacher, and Jackie Weeks, Daniel Bryant, and Kathy DiVenuto, vocational paraprofessionals, all sharing similar praise for his attention to detail and spin on creativity in everything he does. This young man with autism is undoubtedly prepared to take his conscientious, professional work ethic into the labor force and continue to incorporate his innate creative talents into everything he does. Arts for All will be presenting Fernando a one-of-a-kind, personalized, sculptured trophy. As I said last month, this program is designed to increase public awareness and recognize the impact arts makes on students with disabilities statewide. And remember, this is a statewide recognition, so it's a big deal. Our vision is to create a world in which the arts are universally accessible. And Fernando. Congratulations.
And I know you had some pictures of his pieces, but I did bring his piece that was featured in the superintendent's art show.
It's nice.
And this is
Very good.
Fernando's portrait of Elton John.
Oh.
This will hang in our district offices this summer.
All right.
Very nice. Thank you.
And it's important to remember that thanks to our gracious taxpayers, our voters in Marion County who funded the referendum, that helped provide this art teacher at Hillcrest to make this possible. So thank you to the voters in Marion County.
Hello. I'm Fernando Pinero. It was a performance.
You enjoyed art?
In arts.
Did you enjoy art?
Arts.
Is Ms. Hendry one of your favorite teachers?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you like Mr. Fuentes?
Fuentes.
Yeah, he's pretty cool too. And do you love your principal?
Principal. It's all Disney, The Lion King.
He loves The Lion King, hence why he did
It's
Elton John.
July 19th, 2019.
It's coming out,
Movie theater.
the update.
It's a Hollywood.
Live version.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that made this possible for Fernando. I got to be honest, Zanita goes out of her way to make impossible things possible. Our acronym this year at Hillcrest is SMILE, and that means successful moments in life every day, and you just experienced one of them.
Thank
So
you.
thank you all.
Mr. Mark Vianello, Executive Director of Career and Technical Education, would like to recognize students who placed in the Career and Technical Education statewide competitions, as well as the teachers who won the Soft Skills Implementation Contest.
Thank you, Madam Chair and school board members. Good evening, Dr. Mayor. Good evening. That will be a very difficult act to follow. As you mentioned, Madam Chair, tonight we in CTE are very excited to recognize two different groups of individuals. One is a teacher group and one is a student group. For our teacher group, we will be introducing 3 teachers who have been identified as leaders in our district for embedding our community-selected top 5 soft skills into the daily routines of their classrooms. We hear from industry the importance of our students graduating with academic proficiency and having a technical foundation. But time and time again, what employers tell us is that in order to be a well-rounded and successful employee, our students must possess those all-important soft skills. Oftentimes, it's the number one thing that they ask for. As a reminder to our viewing audience, in the summer of 2017, over 300 local businessmen and women helped identify our community's top 5 most desired soft skills, and they are, in reverse order, number 5, working with others as a team. Number 4, having a positive attitude. Number 3, strong communication skills. Number 2, having a strong work ethic. And the number 1 identified soft skill by our community was dependability and reliability. Each principal selected and submitted one teacher's name that did the best job on their campus embedding these soft skills into their classrooms. From that pool of teachers, one winning teacher from each level, elementary, middle, and high, was selected by a committee made up of representatives from CareerSource, the Mid-Florida Regional Manufacturers Association, the CEP, and our Public Education Foundation. Please join me in recognizing and congratulating the following teachers, and I'm hoping they're behind me. Yes, they are. All right, from Romeo Elementary, we have Miss Wendy Witten Lavery. From Lake Weir Middle School, we have Ms. Sheila Gadsden. And from Bellevue High School, we have Mr. Dale Toney. How about one more big round of applause for our three? Very much. Okay, now we're going to transition into our student recognition, and to do that is one of our CTE administrators, Ms. Loretta Young.
Thank you. So tonight we're excited to recognize a group of 26 CTE students who have placed first, second, or third in their state, career, and technical student organization competitions. So we are so proud to present to you the best in the state of Florida. So we're going to start with Forest High School's Student Television Network, also known as STN. It does not have a state competition, so these students all went directly to the national competition, and they placed first. Wow. So for Student Television Network, these are the best in the nation. So first, let me introduce Ashley Glenn, Jackson Miriam, so now we'll move on to our HOSA students. These are our health occupation students, and they competed at the State Leadership Conference in April. So placing first in the state are, careful with names, they're Yisiara Aguirre. She is also one of the valedictorians at Westport High School. We have Gabriel Gonzalez, Franti Rumala, who was also a valedictorian at Westport High School. Alejandro Salinas, also a valedictorian at Westport High School. Var Patel. Vivek Sandra Patty. Ahimsan Siva Sakran. Jasmine Bryant. Just to point out, these last four students are all middle school students. They're from Howard and Fort McCoy. In second place, we have so also HOSA, but second place winners, Kalia Jones, Bellevue High School, Raghav Nander, Howard Middle School, Brooklyn Wooten, Fort McCoy School, Catherine Rivera, also at Fort McCoy. Still HOSA placing third at the state competition, Avnish Saravana Pavan, Howard Middle, Brooke Zulo from Liberty Middle, Zoe Tiller from Fort King Middle. Lastly, we would like to recognize our FFA students. Harrison Sharp from North Marion High School earned the designation of Florida's Finest and will compete at the National Conference in October. Second place winners with FFA are Peyton Davis and Olivia Alderman, both from Bellevue Middle School. So we have also a third place FFA winner, John Wadsworth from Bellevue High School. Again, congratulations, students and teachers, for your achievements. Students, please turn around and face the board so they can see your faces.
So exciting.
Very, very proud of you, and you're learning a skill, and hopefully that will take you into your careers. And we are incredibly proud of you, and we hope that you will consider making Marion County your home when you come back from college or whatever you're going to do.
Exactly. I say ditto to what McCall said. We'd love to have you back. You know, when you read about the youth, or you hear about the youth in the news, you don't hear about you guys. You make me proud, and I know we're in good hands. Thank you.
Thanks to you, thanks to your parents, thanks to your teachers. Just excited for your futures. hopefully you'll orbit on back to Marion County, but if you don't, just make us proud wherever you go. Thank you.
One word, awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And congratulations. Great job and best of luck. Students, we do this. Raise your hand if I was your third grade teacher. No, just kidding. So I wasn't going to embarrass him, but he remembered. So as a third grade teacher, I am so stinking proud of you.
Look at you now.
And look at them now. They grow into wonderful people. I know.
Do him win.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
And you
guys.
guys have a great
Can we
evening.
get one more picture? Can you all turn around? You turn around too fast on us. All right, how about count of three? Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Who do you have at Southern County? He had Miss Matthews, was that her name? Third grade Matthews. He had Sissy in second
You
grade.
don't really recognize them when they're young and they're grown up.
They've grown up.
And you haven't seen them since. This is awesome.
Fernando hadn't changed very
He had Carmen Haynes in fourth grade. I mean Carmen Smith in fourth grade.
So did mine, Matthew.
They do grow up.
They grew up into fine people.
It's amazing.
There's one major, just one. So.
Miss Lindsay Barber, Curriculum and Instruction Secondary Program Specialist, would like to recognize the Lake Weir High School Mock Trial Competition Team who represented Marion County Public Schools at the state competition.
Good evening, Madam Chair King, board members, superintendent, mayor. Each year, hundreds of students throughout the state of Florida participate in the Florida High School Mock Trial Competition offered by the Florida Law-Related Education Association. The Florida High School Mock Trial Competition is an academic competition in which teams of 6 to 8 students simulate the roles of both attorneys and witnesses in a fictional trial simulation. During the activity, students assume the role of attorneys and witnesses in a fictional civil or criminal case, presenting the case in its entirety before judges and attorneys in courtrooms around the state. This year's state competition was held March 14th through the 16th in Orlando, and tonight we're pleased to recognize Lake Weir High School Mock Trial Competition Team, who competed against 17 other schools in Florida, winning 2 rounds. And at this time, I would like to welcome Lake Weir High School Principal Jennifer Beasley, who will make tonight's introductions.
Good evening, Dr. Mayor, Madam Chairwoman, board members, and guests. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize one of the many great things happening at Lake Weir High School. Thank you for inviting us tonight. I'm honored to be here tonight to introduce Mr. Gibb and our mock trial team. These students have worked for most of the year staying after school, practicing and preparing. Each time I see them in action, I'm amazed at their poise and confidence, and it all starts with wonderful teachers like Mr. Gibb, who have amazing passion and dedication. I'm proud to introduce him so he can tell you more about our awesome mock trial team. Mr. Gibb.
Hello. To begin, I want to thank Dr. Mayer, the board, and Ms. Barber for the invitation to be here this evening. It's always great to see kids get recognized for their hard work, and the Lake Weir High School mock trial team is no exception. These students have all been in my pre-IB English class, and I have integrated a mock trial activity as part of that curriculum. 2 years ago, a group of students approached me with a desire to continue mock trial in their subsequent years. That said, I partnered with the Florida Law-Related Education Association and registered our team for their annual mock trial competition. This year, our team advanced to the state competition representing Circuit 5, which encompasses Marion, Lake, Sumter, Hernando, and Citrus counties. These students worked diligently from October to March to craft arguments for both sides, questions, opening and closing statements, and learned how to properly object in court, which was a fun thing to do. The team had a strong showing at states, winning 2 of their respective rounds. Judge Tommy Thompson, who is here with me this evening, worked with our team, serving as our attorney coach and providing much-needed legal knowledge. He traveled to Lake Weir an evening or 2 a week to help, and even opened up the courthouse for weekend practices. For that, we are extremely grateful. Judge Thompson and I see value in law-related education, and it is our hope to get other secondary schools in the district on board with this initiative. We want to see more schools in the district participate in the mock trial competition. I want to introduce a student, Sydney Gledden, a sophomore at Lake Weir, who served as one of our lead attorneys at state competition. Sydney was also this year's winner of the Great Debate Tournament in Marion County. Sydney?
Good evening. My name is Sydney Gledden, and tonight I am here with my teammates at Lake Weir High School's mock trial team. This year we had the honor of representing Circuit 5 at the state mock trial competition, and our journey would not have been possible without our coaches, Mr. Gibbs and Judge Tommy Thompson. To them, we owe our greatest gratitude. I can attest to the knowledge of the world of law we've accumulated from the experience we now share. It is rewarding to be recognized for the months spent preparing and the hard work it took to compete at the state level. So to be here tonight is an honor. On behalf of my teammates and I, thank you.
I would like to introduce her team. We'll start with Sydney Gledden. She's a sophomore and served as one of our lead attorneys. Alexis Sands was also one of our lead attorneys. And then we had Brittany Sands, Amber Whitmer, Savannah Barnett, and Lane Kent. And your Danker Ramirez couldn't be with us
Ms. McCall, did you want to?
So congratulations, and you, young lady, I'm sure the rest of you, but I didn't hear you speak, you will be a fabulous attorney. So keep up the work. I'm hoping that many of you are hoping that you will go into the practice of law. So congratulations. We are incredibly proud of you. And to the parents that are out there, we know this did not happen without you. And to the teachers, thank you, sir. And Judge, thank you very much. I know that you're always at these, I've judged with him for some of the competitions, and he's always available for these kids. So thank you all very much, and good luck to you.
We're good. Yeah, I think we definitely have professionals in front of us, and you guys are going places, and it's quite amazing to see you guys and see how well you're dressed and poised and how well you speak. So congratulations. And Mr. Gibbs made me officially feel old tonight when I looked at him and I couldn't decide if he was a student or a teacher. And I was like, I am that age. I'm old now. But he assured me he is much older than I originally thought. And we're appreciative of you for taking your time with your students, and you too, Judge. So thank you so much. And also, Ms. Peasley, thank you for supporting them. Okay, thank you, and have a good evening.
Okay, Ms. King. Ms. King, I'll go ahead and spill it since you just did. I used to ride horses with Lane's mom before she was ever a mom. And when I saw you walk up, I thought he looks just like his mama. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I guess we're the district's grandma.
How did that happen?
Grandpa's too.
Yeah, you're almost to grandpa age.
I'm a
You are
grandpa.
grandpa, okay.
Thank you.
Holly was in high school. Such a good family.
All right. I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
Good evening. In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board secretary. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes of time. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. Pursuant to the procedures for public comments, item number 6, speakers are not to identify specific individuals other than themselves or their child unless the statement is provided 24 hours in advance. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention to the board's rules.
Thank you. Ms. Elena?
Yes, we have two. Dr. Nicole Thornton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Nicole Christina Rollins Thornton, 53 Pecan Drive Loop, Ocala, Florida, 34472-6250. Spelling of my last name is Thornton. May I begin?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name, as I stated, is Dr. Nicole Christina Rollins Thornton, and I'm addressing this school board for the second time to bring awareness to the corrupt and unethical behavior and actions displayed by this administration. I addressed this school board on September 11, 2018. At that time, I expressed and I stated that I was wrongfully terminated from employment after 15 years of exemplary service as a teacher, as a dean/student services manager, as a testing coordinator, in addition to being a program specialist, assistant principal of discipline and curriculum. During my tenure of assistant principal for curriculum, I worked very closely with my principal during the 17-18 school year. On February 16, 2018, I signed, I'll wait, because I see people rolling their eyes. I think it's quite disrespectful. I received no formal observation of job performance by my principal during the 2017-2018 school year, which is in direct violation of your Human Resources Policy 6.0. That board policy states assessment of employees. Section 2, the assessment of all employees shall be based on observations of the individual's work by his or her immediate supervisor and shall be made at least once each year prior to reappointment. Again, violation of that policy. I have not received to date any formal observation of my job performance for the 2017-2018 school year. Tonight I speak not only for myself, but on behalf of others who have been wrongfully terminated and demoted from their positions without due process. I also plan to speak about the racist disparity and disciplinary actions meted out by this corrupt administration. When we talk about, again, what is best for students, I am seeing that is not being done in this administration. During the school year of 2017-2018, I worked closely with my first-year principal to ensure that he was well-versed on the climate and culture of the school that we had worked at together because I'd been there previously for 3 years. I was frequently complimented on my work performance, and I even received a tweet from the superintendent of Marion County Public Schools on April 9th, 2018, recognizing me as a fantastic assistant principal. We have over 100 assistant principals, but there were only 3 recognized by this superintendent, I being one of the 3. When we talk about a disparity of disciplinary action, I want to go into specifics at this time. One of your elementary schools dropped from a C to an F, but the white male principal was promoted to middle school principal. The white female assistant principal was promoted to principal of the same school, which dropped from a C to an F during her tenure. A white middle school principal received 4 letters of reprimand during the 2016-2017 school year, but was still given a promotion to high school principal. During this principal's tenure at a middle school, His assistant principal of curriculum, another white male, had an absenteeism rate of 85% and received no disciplinary action. You currently have one black male principal at the high school level, two black male principals at the middle school level, but there are no black or Hispanic women who serve in the capacity of principal at the secondary level. At the conclusion of the 2017-2018 school year, not only was I wrongfully terminated and discriminated against, but there were others. You have a Hispanic assistant principal of curriculum. At a high school level, he was replaced by a white female. A black male assistant principal of discipline was replaced by a white male. You have a female principal that was demoted and was replaced by a white male with less than 1 year experience total as an administrator. Marion County Public Schools was released from its 28-year desegregation order in January 2017. This order was put in place to ensure the school system had a balanced racial makeup of teachers and students at our school. This is us taking a step backwards. At this time, I'm requesting the board to complete an investigation into what I have outlined here. I have received my right to sue letters from the EEOC, and I plan to file a lawsuit in federal court against Marion County Public Schools for discrimination.
Dr. Thornton,
Thank you.
Okay, I was going to say, I was going to give you 30 seconds and ask you to wrap it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Cyrus Gibson.
My name is Cyrus Gibson, 30 Pine Radial. The spelling of my last name is Gibson. So, like I said before, or am I allowed to speak now? Okay. Like I said before, my name is Cyrus Gibson. I am an IB student at Vanguard High School. Today I am representing Greater North Central Florida chapter of Jack and Jill of America, Inc. And I'm here today to speak to you about mental illness, because May is, as you may know, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So for Mental Health Month, each year millions of Americans face the reality of living with a mental illness. During May, NAMI and the rest of the country are raising awareness of mental health. Each year we fight stigma, provide support, educate the public, and advocate for policies that support people with mental illness and their families. Why should we care? The Why Care campaign is an opportunity to share the importance of care in our relationships to others, in mental health treatment and services, and in support and education to millions of people's families, caregivers, and loved ones affected by mental illness, demonstrating how and why we care brings more to awareness by showing our actions and connections to others. CARE has the power to make a life-changing impact on those affected by mental health conditions. I stand before you today. I have ADHD, and ADHD affects people in different ways. For me, it affects how I focus. So ADHD is considered a mental illness. Because of my village, I stand before you strong and confident. I would like the members of my village to please stand. Thank you. Thank you for fighting the stigma with me, and I wanted to give these out because these are like, you know how they have breast cancer ribbons? These are mental health, so.
You can give them to me and I'll pass them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say something. Thank you, Cyrus. Cyrus was here a few weeks ago. He's one of our focus kids, and I'm glad to be a part of your village, man. I appreciate you, and thank you for what you're doing, and for being so transparent and sharing that with everybody about what's going on. So thank you, Cyrus.
May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C9.1-C24.1 with the exception of item C8.1, which has been withdrawn completely from the May 14th, 2019 board agenda packet. along with item C13.2, which has been placed under discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, second by Mr. Cummings. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the Boy Scout Eagle Badge Project to construct a greenhouse at Stanton-Weirsdale Elementary School?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, second by Mr. Cummings. Mr. Knight, please.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Mayor, Mrs. Martinez-Lopez, and Mr. Gibbs. Tonight I come before you for a request that the board approve an Eagle Scout project to construct a greenhouse at Stanton-Weirsdale Elementary. In a few moments, I'm going to introduce Stephen Lightbody, who is of the Weirsdale Troop 113, and he is going for his Eagle Badge, which is the highest rank in Boy Scouting. And as you may know, part of the requirements to obtain this badge is to first plan, follow through with, and then oversee a public service project. In this case, this would be the greenhouse for Stanton-Weirsdale Elementary. And of course, what is on the agenda tonight is for the board to approve this project so he can move forward with those steps and proceed with the project. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Stephen to come up here to the podium so you can ask any questions that you'd like to ask about his journey in this project.
Thank you so much for having me. As Mr. Knight just said, I am Steve Lightbody. I'm a Boy Scout with Troop 113. I've been in scouting for about 6 years, maybe 5.5. I've participated in several activities that the Boy Scouts allows for their scouts, from going to Philmont Scout Ranch to just going to summer camp every year with my troop. I'm looking towards my Eagle Scout project. I would like to put a greenhouse at Stanton-Weirsdale Elementary for that project, and I am requesting approval for that project to be continued and executed.
Excellent. I think that sounds wonderful. So how about we go ahead and vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Unanimously. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Stephen.
Best
Good
of
project.
luck,
Yeah.
and thank you. That's just awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Discussion. It goes straight to donation.
Do we need to?
One more discussion.
We need to do one more discussion.
The item that was pulled. Mrs. Stacy pulled item 13.2.
Oh, okay, and we have item 13.2. Okay, and we did have one item pulled, C 13.2. Ms. Stacy, I understand you pulled that from the agenda? Okay.
We need a motion
Oh.
to discuss it.
Can I have a motion to discuss
moved.
it? Moved by Mr. Cummings.
Second.
Second by Ms. Thrower. Okay. Now you
Okay.
can-
I spoke with Dr. Alves today. I also was in contact with Dr. Mayer to explain to them why I pulled the item. I do support this item, but I wanted to talk about the hiring after the staff, the employees that we have in our staffing plan, those that go on and beyond that. I've spoken to many of the independent contractors, and I know that I spoke with Dr. Alves, and she told me that after they do the staffing plan, then they will next hire from the agencies, and then they will hire from independent contractors. I don't understand why that's the direction of the agencies, to get as many as they can, and then to move into the independent contractors. The independent contractors have corporations formed, just like the agencies do. And I know that our attorney had spoken with me about this, and there was something, I know that we were doing things different with the agencies because we had certain guidelines, certain things we were putting on the independent contractors as though they were employees, but that has all stopped. And so my concern is a lot of women go into this profession because they can work 3 days a week or part-time or 4 days a week, or work their schedule so that they can have time to be involved with their children's schools and that sort of thing. And I'm concerned that if we start basically saying we're only going to work with agencies until we don't have any more agency employees, and then we will work with the independent contractors, that we're going to start to have a limit. People will start not going into this field, because one of the perks of going into the field is a little bit it's kind of like why teachers go into the field, to be off in the summer with their students, their children. And then this is even a better perk where at least they can work their schedule around their children and work as many hours as they want, especially when they have small children, that sort of thing. I'm quite concerned I don't understand why we feel, and I know Dr. Alves, she doesn't care. She's fine with wherever we get them. It's just that seems to be a push to her that we use agencies. And I've spoken to, an attorney has called me about this, that there is absolutely no concern if we use independent contractors that are licensed and they have a corporation, because we are actually paying the corporation. We're not paying the employee anyway. The check is cut to the business, and then the business pays she pays herself. So it is not like it was when Mr. Gibbs first came here, where we were having independent, like Nancy Stacy or whoever was a therapist, and it was quite convoluted. But now it's not. And I really want this district to be aware that our independent contractors are just as capable and competent as agencies. And what happens when they go to work for an agency is then they have to go into a no compete clause. And when that happens, if they should want to come to work for the school system, then they can't. So for us, we don't want to lose all of our independent contractors because we're getting a bunch of non-compete people from the agencies. So anyway, that's my concern.
So I'm in agreement with Nancy. I understand that one of the problems is people that only want to work 3 hours a week, and that becomes a problem. So I understand that, and I would like to see us get away from that. I would like to see us offer people an opportunity to become a part of the school system, but we have some independent contractors who are very loyal to us, who've been with us for many, many years, and so I don't want to hurt that relationship that we have with them. So I think we need a balance. I think we need to be able to balance with our independent contractors, offer, and I do understand that we have some of those that now want to become part of the school system, which is good for us, but I don't want to hurt that relationship with those. I mean, we have some that have been with us 20-plus years that are outstanding in their field. And I understand Mr. Gibbs' concern, but I think we really need a good balance with this. And I don't blame them for wanting to get away from those contracts where people only want to work 3 hours a week, because that's a problem. So, but for those that it's not best for kids. So for those that are working full-time with us, that have been with us for a very long time, I don't want us to tie our hands in. I don't want to lose them.
Well,
so I think we need
3 days a week.
So I think we need a balance. And so I'd like to see us, however, we need to restate this to be sure that we are not hurting those independent contractors that have been with us, who have formed their S-corps, and who have been with us for a very long time and are incredibly loyal and are incredibly good at what they do. We don't want to lose them.
Well, and I'll just say, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not about to try to play one on TV, so to speak. And I've worked with many SLPs over my years, as an ESE person. And obviously, we want them to be qualified and competent. That's number one, whether they're working 3 days a week or 90 hours a week. And I guess I have a couple of questions. My first one is there room to hire all of them using that hierarchy of looking to get them as part of the school system and then going through agencies? And then is there plenty of room and plus more so that independent contractors wouldn't be left out? Because we don't want them to be. I'm a business owner myself, and we want them to have the ability to work with us. So that's my first question. I believe there's been a shortage of SLPs, so it seems like there's been plenty of jobs.
Right now.
Right, and so there's been plenty of jobs to go around. Right. And so are we in danger of, and balance is what I'm thinking, you were saying that, making sure that we're comfortable legal-wise, which is obviously not my field, and at the same time covering our bases and making sure that everyone that wants to work for us that is amazing and capable gets their foot in the door.
Gets to work for us.
Or at least gets the opportunity.
Especially if they have been with us for a very long time. I mean, and, you know, we have some that have been with us for 6 to 8 years that are incredibly loyal and very good at what they do. So
Well, it seems to me like we've kind of upset an apple cart a little bit, and I'm almost wondering, why are we changing something? Maybe we ought to just leave it as is and assess it for another year or two. We know we have many changes coming our way. This seemed to strike a chord. They came in, they spoke to us, they've been fighting for this. I think it would be wise if we just, and I spoke to Dr. Alves too, and I'm comfortable just leaving it as it was, and let's just wait for a year, you know? I think that might be what's.
As long as I
best at this
can feel
point.
assured that we're okay legally, then, again, it's about doing what's best for kids, getting this contract done so that they can start hiring. Before you know it, it's going to be.
Well, if we don't do anything, they can do what they were doing before. We're not
When I
disrupting
spoke-
anything.
And when we spoke to
this
Dr.
point.
Alves at the workshop, she said, I don't care how we do it. I just need to get some people hired.
Right.
That's where she was
That's
at.
the comment that has been stated to me on more than one
know,
occasion.
like-
So maybe we ought to,
Let's
maybe
just
we
let it
ought
lie.
to let it lie and let it be what it is, and then let's really delve into it a little bit more this coming year. And I understand not wanting to mess with those 3-hour-a-week contracts but at the same time, I don't want to.
I don't want to upset families' apple carts.
Well, I
that
don't
have
want
worked
to
with us for
lose people that
years.
are really good.
We don't, and that's why I'm thinking at this point, and we have a shortage, let's just let it rest.
Yep.
It's at this point. So,
I agree.
all right, so the motion's on the table. So
just vote
all
against
those in favor, say aye. Those that like sign, say aye. Or
Say
nay?
no.
Nay.
No.
Say nay.
No, we
Nay.
don't want it.
Okay, the motion did not pass unanimously. Okay. All right. May I have,
question. So do we have to amend the district staffing plan now?
We're not hiring anybody, so no. So
No.
it would just be contract employees, just like last year. She's not adding any units to
Dr.
hers.
Alves, are you okay with our decision?
Well, you've already made the decision, so I will support whatever the board decides. I will say that the two representatives that came forward at the work session of SLPs were pretty clear that they felt that a combined was necessary because we have lost some folks to fill these needed positions because we did not offer school board positions. So they were as a group, when they came in as the representative during the work session, they felt a combined process. And what they've said to me is they don't want any of the three groups left out. They would like to see that we have the overall opportunity for school board, contracted agencies, and contracted independent. So I will support whatever the board.
Which was kind of a compromise, I thought.
So can we make that compromise?
But here's the thing, what is that compromise?
Let's
I mean, we don't, I think
We'll
let's
have a-
wait a year,
Let's wait a year. Let's do it next.
I think it's just best to wait a year. We've heard a lot of conversation. I don't recall many people coming before us saying they wanted this. And for us just to throw it out there and say, this is what we're going to do half and half, but we don't have numbers and we can't really prove and do a good job, I don't feel.
So do we have some that are currently school board employees?
We do not have anyone. I have been told by the SLPs that there are 9 that are interested in going school board positions that are current independents. And I have been told that there are 9. I can't give you anything more than that. I do know that the 2 ladies who came forward, they did not come as a whole group because they were serving students. So they elected 2 people to come to the work session, and they took time off of their contracts to come to you because they didn't feel like they could come as a group because they were serving students. So that's all I can speak to at this point. I do know that there's 6 to 9 for sure who are looking and want to go school board.
Okay, but I don't know that we can change an entire system for 6 to 9 people in, like this real quickly. Those 6 to 9 are welcome to be independent contractors as they've been, and we can do a better job if we just wait on this. But to change a whole way we run the business here and we have enough problems without this can of worms.
I think you don't have to make a decision as rapidly as we were trying to make for this decision. I think we need to give it some time, give us, everybody a chance to come back to the table, all those 9 and whoever else. Let's have a conversation about it, and then we can make a
And
good
maybe
decision.
those 9 can recruit more over the year, maybe,
Exactly.
to make it worth the change. But to change it because 6 or 9 people would like to do it when they can continue working as independent contractors, they don't really have to come on board. They're doing financially, they make the same money supposedly as an independent contractor. So I would like to just do this next year, look at it next year, and get a real good picture, and talk to more people, because this happened real quick. And when these things happen quick, and we're trying to fix a problem that we don't have a problem until this problem sort of like, it wasn't really a problem. You've been serving the kids. Let's just give it a year.
Work at the leisure of the board. Okay, thank you.
I think that's a good idea, and we can look at the numbers and
Talk
see
to more people.
how many really would like to be school board employees, and then build our formula for next year based on that.
And I want to learn more about the legal ramifications, because we need to weigh all of that. That's what we hire an attorney for, but I agree that it is important to go in with a completely knowledgeable
Where we know everything.
perspective.
We need an informed board, and right now, we're not comfortable with what's been presented to us up to this point. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alves.
We appreciate you,
Perhaps if
Dr.
we
Alves.
can talk to them and Dr. Alves, try to find out how many would actually, for the following school year, would like to be school board employees, and then we can build this staffing plan based on that balance.
And we don't mind them coming to the work session and talking as a group.
Yeah.
We
They had
can-
to take time off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So they sent spokespeople
Yeah, okay.
to represent.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for what you did do to get this moving, and I know that it may appear that it was done quickly, but I know the intense conversations you've had with Mr. Gibbs, and I want to thank him as well for looking out for our kids in our district, and you're both appreciated very much for everything you've done.
Indeed,
Right.
indeed.
This is the beginning.
And that's why I called Dr. Alves today, and I said, I just want to talk about this. If we really want to do it, I'm for it. I mean, I'm for you. But I think for 6 or 9 people to change a system when we really have 59 openings, basically, or something like that for this, just a little premature. But, we do these things and we play devil's advocate back and forth, and we all come together with a solution that works for us. And I think this will work for us this year. And thank you for being flexible and wiggling around it all.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Alves.
Thank you, Dr. Alves.
Thank you. All right. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $39,200, $1,200 to Forest High School from One Blood, Inc., $2,500 to Fort McCoy School from their business partner, Adena Springs Sleepy Creek Lands LLV, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County, $1,000 to Osceola Middle School from TK Obertuffler, $20,000 to Homeless Needy Children Program of Marion County Public Schools, Psychological and Social Work Services Department from Community Bank and Trust of Florida, $2,500 to Silver River Museum from Duke Energy, $1,000 to Silver River Museum from Fran Wittick, $3,500 to Silver River Museum from the Cannon Law Firm, $5,000 to Silver River Museum from Florida Humanities Council, $2,500 to Ward Highlands Elementary School from their business partner Lee's Famous Chicken, Stillwell Enterprises, Inc., via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Cummings.
Second.
Second by Ms. Thrower. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wait, yeah, aye on that one.
Emphatically.
5-0. Okay, and then, was it Mr. Cummings? Did you say it last time? I think you did. Ms. McCall. would you-
Yes, and towards the end of the year, and you're still giving money, so we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what's going to go on at Silver River Museum, but I want to know there must be a project that they're working on to get these funds. So, but thank you from the bottom of my heart and the board's heart for all that you continue to do to help our students be successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Mayer.
First, Officer Diesto, thank you so much for being here tonight. And we were chatting before the meeting, and you were sharing about your day, because you're one of our SROs we love you guys, and that you're at CERMI. And I have to share with the public that you said to me that every day, you love going to work every day because you know that you are influencing those kids who may need a little extra love and a little extra tough love. So thank you for that, and thanks for being with us. And we hope to see you this summer, because I know y'all will be with us this summer, looking out for us, and we appreciate that as well. So, and with that, I'm going to talk about summer in just a minute, because I wanted to talk first about the BARK bus, and when we had the BARK bus here just at the last work session, and what a great presentation and what great outreach. And so I wanted to share that we'll be in the Monday memo, we'll have the reminder for donations if folks want to donate to the Humane Society. We already have it up in process, and we have over 100 folks that already do donate, but that reminder will be in there along with the flyer, and another reminder too that our folks can donate to our Public Education Foundation. So however our folks decide to donate to take care of our kids and our teachers, we appreciate it very much. Graduations begin this Friday, and so we start off Friday morning with Hillcrest and Friday night at Vanguard, and the schedule moves from there, and all those details are on our website. We like to say it's the most wonderful time of the year, and celebrating the successes of our young people. And as we move into that, we have many of our celebrations at the Livestock Pavilion. And when that happens, our grounds department has extra duty, and they've got to get in there and set stuff up. And when we have 2 in one day, they've got to flip the stage and put up the extra stuff. So we just want to give them another shout out for the great work they did. And last year when they did it, they were working through horrible weather and just had the most pleasing affect and the most welcoming affect, and they are so appreciated. And with our graduations, we have 4 seniors, 4 ladies who have never missed a day of school. And 3 of them are from Forest High, and the 4th is from North Marion High School. And those details too, if you'd like to read more, are on our website. But that's something. So, Mr. Christian and I were chatting today, and they are the most just unassuming young ladies, just very calm about all of that. Back to summer. This summer reminder that we will have 9 of our elementary school libraries open every Wednesday from 8 to 2, and those details again are on our website, so please go to marionschools.net for that. And with that 8 to 2, those schools will be having breakfast and lunch. And with the libraries open, it's a great time for families to come. You can come for the special story time that they're having with the activities. And please, you're also welcome to come for the lunch and breakfast if you wish. The computers are there too if families want to use those. If members of the community may need to come in and use it for maybe a job search or something like that, just check in at the front office and they'll guide you there. We had a teacher job fair a few weeks ago, and on the spot we hired 64 folks. And what was great is that our principals were saying these were quality applicants. It wasn't just that, oh, we need somebody, so we'll take you, or we'll take you. These were great folks that we hired, and we just want to welcome them to the team. It was an all-day event. It was very well attended, very well organized, very impressed with that. And so we look forward to moving forward and filling those vacancies. And just to close on with a happy story I've got to share. So after the job fair, I was all pumped up and excited, and which is the perfect emotion with which to go shoe shopping. So I decided I'm going to stop into a shoe store and get a couple pair of new shoes. I had to celebrate this great day. So I did, and I found quite a few pair actually. And so I'm carrying the boxes up to the register, and the young man that's working comes to greet me, and he's like, "May I take your boxes?" And we chat a little bit, and he's so friendly and so professional. And so he takes the boxes up, I do a couple things, and I meet him at the register. And at this particular shoe store, you get points or, bonus points or whatever when you buy. So he says, "May I have your phone number to look you up?" And so I give him my phone number. He pulls it up and he goes, "Oh," and he goes, "Heidi Mayer." And I said, "Yes." He goes, "You're the superintendent of schools." And, I'm in a great mood. I'm like, "Well, yes, I am." And he goes, you know Mr. McAteer. And I said, well, yes, I do. And he goes, Mr. McAteer is like this. And I said, yes, he is. And he goes, he's awesome. And he was at Denellen High when I was there, and it's because of Mr. McAteer that when I graduate University of Florida, I'm coming back to Marion County to teach. And so we chatted a little bit more, but I want to thank, of course, Mr. McAteer for that. But I also want to remind folks, just like tonight with the young man that shook your hand, that the legacy of our teachers goes on past what you can even think or remember. And so to our teachers that are hanging in there for these last 2 weeks, I know that you're dealing with extra exuberant students and extra things on your plate. But it's those moments, I know, that make it all worth it for you, and we just want to thank you. Thank you so much for hanging in there, for doing more than the best you can do, and you are appreciated. Thanks.
No, ma'am.
Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, unfortunately, after yesterday's events that we had going on, I have another one coming up here. I got a motion on another disciplinary action for the board to recuse itself as the trier of fact and refer the case to DOA. I forwarded that motion to you. I forwarded the superintendent's counsel's opposition to that motion. I need a decision as to what the board wants to do with that motion so that I can prepare the order for Ms. King to sign. I do not believe there is any merit. I don't believe the board has any obligation in this circumstance to recuse itself. If for any reason you guys now feel that you cannot be fair and impartial, then that would be a different issue, but I'm not saying that you recuse yourself.
Yeah, so I guess what we need to decide, though, is, in this case, do we feel like we would like to use DOA for this? I think I would even like to do it for this case, but even look forward to doing it for other hearings also. Reform to DOA. I know they do it in other counties also.
You mean instead of us hearing it?
Instead of us hearing it, we...
I don't have any strong feelings either way.
It's a cost thing for me. When I look at, what did we have to pay the attorneys yesterday versus, the $4,500 that we spent on DOA. So to me,
You're going to pay the attorneys because they'll do their job
But they still.
with
that's
DOA, on top of DOA. Instead of you guys are getting paid to be here regardless. You're going to have to pay approximately $5,000 is what we paid for the last one we did for a judge to issue a recommended order. That carries other factors. They try to build in, like if they're in Citrus County and Sumter County, they try to build multiple counties in the same region. Otherwise, if we're the only one that comes down, we have to pay the full hourly rate for their travel time from Tallahassee, both
But if we
ways.
split it up, how much is it?
Well, it depends on how many they do. So if they don't have any in our area and they have to just come down for us, we're paying the full $150 per hour for the 3 hours down and the 3 hours back. If they build it in where they have other counties that have cases, then they'll split it, divide that $150 by 3, and we're each paying $50 an hour.
There's a cost savings.
Right. So they try to do that, but it's all dependent on when cases are scheduled versus when people are being disciplined in other counties. So
Is the history to use DOA sometimes and then have the school board hear some cases? What is the criteria? I guess
We can decide. We can do it that way.
any time you want, you can send them. I mean, some districts, their flat policy is every disciplinary case goes to DOA, and then you guys make the final decision. You make the final decision no matter what you do. You can't delegate that to DOA. You guys had the Richard Collins case come, like, I think this year. I brought that to you. That was a DOA case. That one got referred to DOA. Usually, since I've been here, we've only done controversial issues, and there was one that we had like 80 witnesses. So that the board said they didn't want to sit here for 3 or 4 days hearing a case, so they said send that to DOA. It's really your prerogative. If there's a case where you guys are involved in through either knowing the teacher and you can't be fair and impartial, that would be a candidate to kick out to. But
I can say I have no strong feelings either way. I'm going to go by your recommendation. I mean, you're our attorney. If you feel like it's a not necessary thing, I'm going to weigh with whatever you advise.
Yeah, on the motion, you don't have to do it. Now, if you guys want to send them anyways, just to say, hey, they're, like yesterday's was a tough tough topic. I mean, you guys don't get that opportunity to know that until you are sitting here, and then
Right.
you get the details. We can't give you the details until you're sitting because you're the judge. So you can't say, I want to
Even the
weed out.
DOA people come back to us, don't they?
They just make a recommended order. DOA, they set the facts, so they will make all the credibility decisions. They will send you a list of facts, if you remember the Richard Collins order.
Right.
They presented the facts, and then they presented the conclusions. The
Was
facts.
it Richard Collins or wasn't it something else?
No, it was Richard Collins. And the facts are set. You're not supposed to deviate from their factual findings. If you disagree with their legal conclusions and their support for it in the order and the findings of fact, you can deviate from their conclusion. Just because they say, hey, it's a termination, we're recommending reinstatement with a suspension, you can still come back and say, hey, based on those facts and the record and issue, we still want to terminate, and you can do that.
But with the DOA case, if there were 80 witnesses, we would not have to sit through all.
You would not be sitting here listening to those witnesses.
DOA would do that, and they would give us the findings from there.
You'd be paying the judge for the 3 or 4 days they'd have to sit in Marion County listening to the case.
And maybe for a big case like that, it would make sense. Yesterday was tough. However, we have to make the decision anyway.
At the end, it comes back to us anyway.
Right.
At the bottom, it comes back to us at the end of the day anyway, for us to give it an up or down.
Well, the
We can
thing
just-
I like about DOA is the judge has the legal knowledge
That we don't have.
that we don't have. And so, that's why I lean a little bit towards DOA. And to me, it's pretty much it's a cost thing. So I can really go any way. But no, yesterday was not pleasant.
So, well, let's,
I'm in favor for DOA.
I'm in favor for DOA. Let's go back to the first case. So do we want to?
We have the motion, so if the board says you don't want to grant the motion, I'll prepare that. If you still want to move them to DOA, then I can issue an order moving it to DOA on board grounds.
If y'all want to do DOA, we can do that. We are settling many more of these than we're at.
Right, yeah, I mean, right now, this year, we haven't
Thank
had
you
that
to the
many.
district for
Yeah,
that.
so,
When it gets to that point.
right now, we haven't had very many. I know at one point, I think when Ms. McCall was on, we were trying to schedule like 20 of these things, and, I mean, that gets to be a $100,000 budget a year. It's like, for right now, I think we got a pre-hearing coming up with 2 on it, so we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 over the next year, unless something changes. So, I mean, if you were safe to budget, I would say probably around 35,000 right now, but.
Even with going with DOA?
Yeah, that would be the DOA budget. I would say that would cover 7 one-day cases. I mean, if we had a different case that came up that was extraordinarily large, like the one that was going to have 80 witnesses, then we might need to come back and say we got an unusual circumstance. But most of them are one-day events.
So is that the one that has 80 witnesses?
No, that one settled.
Okay.
In the end, that one settled. You guys moved that to DOA, so it settled.
We moved it to DOA and it settled.
They settled before DOA here.
So there is a chance that they'll settle before they go.
They can always resolve them. So even just because you guys move it to DOA, that administrative process can still take place. It doesn't.
When one is moved to DOA, is it more likely that it will
No.
settle? No, so that's not really a,
It's entirely up to the attorneys. So, I mean, the attorneys are the same on the case no matter what. The DOA judge is just going to serve as like a trial judge down at the courthouse. They go to, I'm assuming they go to trial school or judge school, as just like the circuit judges, or take at least some sort
I'm
of
sure
training.
they must.
And so
What's other districts doing?
all the ones that I know of are going DOA. I don't know of too many. The last one I heard that I was aware of, Leon County did them themselves, but their current board chose to start sending to DOA. They don't have to pay the hourly rate to transfer though, because they're already there. So they just show up at the DOA headquarters.
So, if that's what most districts are doing, because it's grueling, and I'm not sure I have the expertise to really make all the right decisions anyway, so.
Okay, so I believe I hear a consensus. for
Yeah,
us to move
let's
for
go.
DOA. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
on the motion, so the motions before you want to deny the motion, but then move them to DOA on other grounds, just as a matter of procedure?
Yes.
Yes? All right.
Yeah.
Just that we're kind of heading in that way anyway. So at least our employees feel like, they're getting a completely unbiased, completely.
They are.
right, and even though it's extra money, which you were saying, it's the equivalent of a teacher's salary maybe, but in the end, it may be more fair and impartial, which is important for
Everybody.
teachers too, right.
It's
So
all of
I'm-
us
I'm
and
like,
everybody. Yeah.
weighing the pros
Okay.
and cons.
Okay. All right. Anything
I'll go
else,
with it.
Mr. Gibbs?
All I have.
Okay. Ms. McCall?
Yes. I just want to say how fabulous tonight was and the nights that we have been with students at the CTE and the elementary school awards that I'll be going to and all of us will be going to, the Take Stock in Children graduation. For Fernando tonight, how special that was for him to get that art award. Our Eagle Scout that came up, Stephen Lightbody, for Cyrus to have the courage to come and speak, and all the wonderful things, these academic teams, and all the fabulous things going on in our school system. I really wish more people knew how good we really are. I mean, that academic team, that kind of blew me away. You know, they were just fabulous, but all of it. So I just want to say kudos to all those kids that work so hard. To our graduating seniors, graduation is coming up. I want you to be safe. I want you to be thoughtful. I want you to have a great summer. But during this week, when you may seem invincible, you are not. So please be safe. Please use your heads. And to Mom and Dad, congratulations. You're at the end of a chapter, and we congratulate you, and we thank you for all that you've done. Thank you.
Ms. Betty? Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the Evening of Excellence. That was the salute to our scholars in end of April. I want to talk about Jawan Newbin, Dr. Mayor. Our path has crossed, our family, that family, we kind of met them along the way in politics along the way and everything because it's just an activist family that really is very education oriented. And Jawan is a student over at Vanguard, and he received the most scholarships of any student, I guess, in the county. Is that correct? He received 6. And it was so exciting. It was his birthday, and how the community just bounces forward. Someone said something about it being his birthday, and all of a sudden Betty Cakes just shows up with cake. Like, okay, we have a cake from Betty Cakes. Like, poof, magic wand, we have a birthday cake. It happened real quickly. Somebody went and just got it from Betty Cakes.
And his jazzy shoes, don't
And his
forget.
shoes, yeah.
And his dressy shoes, exactly. And I guess, and Jawan's family, his aunts, his uncles, all of his grandmother's and grandfather's children went through Vanguard High School. That is their high school. They all graduated with honors, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa. They all went through that school. And I'm talking about Miss Brenda Williams. Brenda Williams was a teacher in our system. She was a reading coach. She was a program specialist in administration. And as she started raising her grandchildren, I heard of Brenda when I became an activist back in 1990, and I was so impressed with parental involvement and everything. That was kind of my little specialty. Everybody has their little thing in life they do, and that was my thing I did. And Brenda Williams, I used to hear about her team teaching over at Reddick and how involved she was with that, and her name just popped up. That was in the early days of advisory councils, and I was able to kind of, as a young mom and parent in the district, and hear about some of these great teachers. Well, it's so nice when a grandmother is so involved in her grandchildren's education. She hears something happens at school and she goes. And to close this tonight, I want to talk about Mr. Carlisle at Vanguard. She spoke to me as a graduate from Vanguard, her children from Vanguard, her grandchildren from Vanguard, and she told me, as a Vanguard person, Mr. Carlisle is to be there for life. She loves Mr. Carlisle. And so I want to put kudos out there. J1 Newman's grandmother is a Vanguard, they could have a family reunion out there with that family. And every single one of them have had contact with the school, with, you know, with the students, this, that, and the other, what's going on with her grandchildren. And she said, if Mr. Carlisle could be cloned in this district, she would be happy. So I want kudos out to our principal at Vanguard. I was a Forest High School mom, but I'm hearing about this guy, and so I think it's great. And I think that if a Vanguard family feels this strongly about him and he's at Vanguard, I think the word needs to get out. Thank you.
Yes, Vanguard and Mr. Carlisle, definitely a tough act to follow. He's been incredibly welcoming to me as their school board representative. Open door policy, just always really calm, cool, and collected, showing everything that they're doing. They've really got it going on there. So yes, I totally agree there. And gosh, I want to keep it quick because there's just so many doors opening. I feel like we could talk all night about the different things that are going on, and it's very exciting as a first-year school board member to be looking forward to graduation and participating in a whole new way. I'm going to make it to Ward. Thursday's going to be a busy day because it'll be Ward Highlands early, and then Hillcrest, and then Vanguard in the evening. And your son is going to be graduating, so that's going to be really cool to be up on stage with Miss King and watch her get to give her son his diploma. So that's awesome. Just thinking about all of the different acknowledgments that we give. You know, we have the science fair and the history fair and the superintendent's art show and all these different things. And I did want to just give a little shout out to Forest High School has a literary magazine, and I did not know this. And it is headed up by one of Sam's former teachers. She taught drama at that point at Howard Middle School. And Miss Trulieb is really 100% for her kids, and this magazine is student-led, and it just made me think about wanting to share a few comments about it because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And when I look through this, there's some very uplifting stories, but there's also some very dark, you know, poetry and painful sharings from students. And it's another reason why it's so important, where if kids can get a chance to express themselves in this way, instead of expressing themselves in a tragic way, then we're really ahead of the game. So just a little shout out to the paw print and Forest High School. And I can't thank the community enough. I can't thank this board enough. You have supported the funding referendum. You saw tonight what that has done for so many people. But Hillcrest School, there was always art at Hillcrest School. There was always music at Hillcrest School, but it was always done by teachers, just doing it because they knew the kids needed it. But now, the playing field's been leveled, and our kids are stepping up, and they're getting a chance to participate and earn accolades just like any other kid. So that's why I didn't speak tonight when they were up there, because I wasn't sure that I would get through it. Right, and it's just so...
We had trouble.
Yes, I know, I saw the Kleenex come out on that side, and it's just so gratifying, and as a school board member, it's wonderful to feel part of that. So thank you, and as we move forward into a new phase with therapeutic horseback riding, just want to say that therapeutic horseback riding is coming back again, thanks to the board. And it's amazing how things come full circle in this little town, because our new director is going to be Betty Gray, who has been a horse person forever. And in fact, I used to do business with her when I had my farm. And she was also a former director of MTRA. But she's got the availability to make Hillcrest a priority in perpetuity. And now we have this partnership, public and private, so that the program will be supported. There won't be this constant need for fundraising and trying to spread yourself so thin. And it's going to be a work study site. And it's going to be an opportunity for our volunteers, like we already have at Hillcrest from Forest and Ocala Christian Academy, to hopefully the ones that are interested learn to become sidewalkers and volunteers in MTRA, which may then inspire them to become ESE teachers. So it's so much more than just, hay and horses. And I'm very grateful tonight, and I think it was a sign from the gentleman with the telescopes, that we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds on this earth. So having the opportunity to make the most of it is just wonderful. So happy graduation, everybody. Be safe, and thank you.
Mr. Cummings.
Oh, wow.
And I forgot 2 things. It's okay.
Go ahead.
Only that I'm very concerned about the Boys and Girls Club, so I think you might end up speaking to that. And then I'm looking forward to getting the guidelines in place for our new ICROC committees and how we're going to do that. I think it's really important, again, for the community to know that we're on top of it, and it's a new referendum cycle, and just getting those guidelines solidified. Do we have a work session on that?
Our next one.
Okay.
The 23rd, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
It's on
Eric,
the,
you wanna
I
talk
should have read it to you guys first, and I got ahead of myself, so I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. All right,
Again.
great. Thanks.
Thank you all. Listen, this has been an extremely busy board. We have been all running here and there like chickens with our heads cut off, and it's amazing the things that are happening in Marion County School District. There are so many great things that are going on. We've been to Gainesville to the Commissioners Task Force for African American Studies. We were over in Dunellen at a CTE extravaganza. There are so many great certification programs that are in the Dunellen area that were awesome. The Night of Excellence, as you talked about, Jawan, him and his shiny slippers, it was like a fairy tale for him that night because he did get an extreme number of scholarships, one from my fraternity. So he is definitely on his way, and we're so proud of him. I thought about the signing event. That was a super event that we did here at the old MTI, I want to say the old Forest. That signing event, we stress, we celebrate athletes signing, going to colleges, but I thought that was just a wonderful event, those kids signing those letters of intent to have these jobs in the community, and the employers that have already hired them on. That was awesome. And then to move into the certification, I think it was over 1,600.
14, yeah.
Counting.
And counting certifications that these kids have gotten. That's wonderful. I'm looking forward to this board, these 4 ladies and the superintendent, 5 ladies, and I completing our master board training this week. We are going to be unique in that, and I'm just extremely excited about what's going to happen with all of us and getting that master board training. Graduation is upon us. I look forward to graduation. I know the parents are excited. I know the students are extremely excited about graduation. I want you to enjoy yourselves. I want you to have fun, because you only get it one time from high school. And I still remember my graduation night. Make sure that it's done safely. Make sure that it's done responsibly. And parents, with these graduation parties, we just need to make sure that everything is done decently in order, and that our kids stay safe, and that they're able to move away from just graduation night into life. That's the most important thing. So we celebrate you. We celebrate your accomplishments of being in school for all these years, and completing that one chapter and ready to move to the next chapter, whether that be college, whether that be vocational school, military, workforce, whatever it is. We're celebrating that move, that transition from there. And then on a serious note, some of you probably have noticed that I read the newspaper, we have some tight times right now with our Boys and Girls Club of Marion County. I think this school system is going to help wherever we can to make sure that the Boys and Girls Club are staying open, especially the ones in Dunellen and Silver Spring Shores for the summer. We don't want to see these kids out on the street during the summer. That is a recipe for disaster, and we want to make sure that we're doing what we can. And if anybody's out there listening, if you are an alumni of the Boys and Girls Club of Marion County, we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. We need you to pull your checkbooks out, and we need you to get on board and making sure that these kids are in a safe place over the summer. Summertime is a time where kids can get in trouble, can get seriously hurt. We need to make sure that we're doing the things that are necessary to keep our kids safe so that they'll come back to school in August. Again, congratulations to all of our graduates, and I look forward to making the circuit for graduation.
And if I may say, April Savarazzi is, who is the executive director at the Boys and Girls Club, is very willing to meet with anyone to make a presentation. We would love to see people be able to donate to them. We've got to keep those doors open. We need that safe haven for our kids. So April is very willing to get out there and speak with anybody. And more to come, a little bit about some transportation things. Mr. Reverend Cummings and I have both met with them, and so stay tuned. We're going to get some numbers together, and let's take a look. And thank you, Dr. Meyer, for opening up some food centers for Dunellen. So that will help with their costs this summer. So thank you.
For the shores, too.
And thank you for the shores as well.
Yeah, I was glad that was brought up because someone mentioned that to me, and I thought it was an excellent idea. We have a lot of resources with our food services, and they mentioned like us providing the lunches, and I was like, it never even occurred to me. So I think that is an excellent idea, and I'm curious. I think for maybe all, it can maybe offset some cost even for in town and stuff like that. So if we could, when you guys are working on that, maybe look at the whole and that, see if we can alleviate something, and that's one way to be creative. But
one of the problems is that for those clubs to stay open during the summer, the funding is crucial. We have to identify that funding within the next week.
Yes.
In order for them to hire staff and in order for them to be. So my phone number is on the school board website. You can call me, you can call Reverend Cummings, and we will get you in touch with April Savarazzi's at the Boys and Girls Club. But if you're out there and if you're listening and if you have the ability to help us fund these programs through the summer, please get in touch with us.
Let me say this. Y'all know I'm a preacher, so the preaching finna come out. The book says, the Bible says, we have not because we ask not. So we're going to ask. We're going to ask. We're going to make a plea to keep, for the people of Marion County, the citizens of Marion County, to keep the Boys and Girls Club open for this summer. And it's going to take all of us, and we can do it. Whatever you decide to give it, and we're going to make sure our kids are safe this summer. So.
And I hope we can come up with some ideas to help them become financially solvent, going forward, so it doesn't come down to this crunch time.
We are working on some things with her. I have promised Ms. Savarazzi that I will be there to coach her on fund development, and she's very passionate about making sure this happens. Gordon Glover, a young attorney in this town who has served on our Public Education Foundation Board for many years, is the current chair. He, too, is passionate about this. So they will have some strategies, and I'm working with them on that.
Great.
I think they're in good hands. Ms. McCall's the fundraising queen.
Isn't it great when we all have this expertise and we can lend in different ways?
Exactly.
It makes all hard work easier.
Okay, so now that I'll get back on track where I was. I'll say the next regular administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for May 23rd, 2019 at 9 a.m. The purpose of this work session is to discuss 2019-2020 general insurance renewal review, comprehensive mental health plan, ICROC procedures update, job description, superintendent board policies, new board policy 8.62, data protection, and rezoning part 2. The next regular administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for June 6, 2019 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss construction projects update, hurricane briefing, emergency management, and health insurance update. Okay, so now I got us all on the same page. I got it. I'm actually going to talk about a few things tonight, too. I guess we're talkative. Today, I received a very nice phone call from a former student who I had her when she was in 3rd grade, and she told me that she wants to be a teacher. I know, and I was so excited, and so it just made me proud. But what she was asking, didn't know if she should be a sub or should she be a paraprofessional and how to go about it. But anyways, it was just nice to hear her talk about her high school teachers, who she said that she wouldn't been able to even graduate had they not helped her and supported her and stuff. And then, of course, our third grade teacher. But you just never know. You just never know when you are in education who you touch and how things just come full circle. And so it's just exciting. Also, I want to talk about, was it Miss Hendry up there tonight,
Zenita
Fernando?
Hendry.
I wanted to say something then, and I couldn't either. But the way she looked at Fernando the whole time when he received his award was the epitome, is exactly what
Like a mother.
a
Everything a
teacher,
teacher
it's
is.
a teacher. She was a teacher. And I wouldn't even say she's not his mother, she's his teacher.
But she looks at him like
And
a mother.
and you could tell that she was just very endearing to him. And when I saw that, I think that was probably one of the most touching moments I may have ever seen up here. And it was very genuine and very sincere. And but it was just amazing. And she's just
Something
one
to
of
aspire
many.
to for
It is something
every
to
single
aspire
student.
to.
Amazing. You are so
It
right.
was. And I'm also looking forward to our master board training on Thursday. I'm looking forward to us being a better board and us moving forward and
An
just
even better
learning-
board.
An even better board, and us just learning and continue learning. So I'm really excited about that. Also, our graduates, congratulations. We are so proud of you. We are proud of your accomplishments and the way you are heading. I know I heard a lot of comments about being safe. You guys are going to be safe. Come to my house. I'm going to have cake. Ice cream. That's what we're having. We're having cake. So we're just proud. But, yep, my baby's graduating. So I'm very happy about it, actually. We're
I was
excited.
thrilled. Yeah, it was just 1 year too early.
It was just when you.
David graduated last year.
Yeah, and I also want to tell our teachers and our students, this is a very exciting time, and we are so appreciative for your hard work and your dedication to each and every one of our students. And we are so proud of our students that are coming to school, and they're giving us their best. And I'm just appreciative of that. So this is probably my favorite time of the year. It's always exciting and exhilarating, and I'm looking forward to the next week with our graduations.
Yes.
All right. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge the board members have received the alternative placement list for students through April 23rd, 2019. Ms. Martina Lopez, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 19-137, JD 19-137, JD 19-139E, JD 19-140, JD 19-143E, JD 19-144, JD 19-145, JD 19-146, JD 19-147, JD 19-148, JD 19-149, and JD 19-150, with educational services for the remainder of the 2018-2019 school year and all of the 2019-2020 school year.
So move.
Moved by Ms. McCall,
Second.
second by Ms. Thrower. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 19-141 and JD 19-142 without educational services through the remainder of the 2018-2019 school year and all of the 2019-2020 school year?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cummings. Second by Ms. McCall. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. I will be calling a brief recess to clear the room prior to discussing a student discipline matter. Parents will then have an opportunity, well, we're not addressing the board, but we do have a matter that is tabled. So this will conclude the televised and business portion of the meeting at 7:25 p.m.